Hello and welcome to Political Quickie, your political show that subjectively discusses political situations in South Africa and all around the world. My name is Mapase Kamura. So in light of our vision, the second aspect today of demolishing the system would be politics. My absolute favorite. But actually the least important out of the three. So after you've pursued media and you've pursued business, then you pursue political power. Politically, in my point of view, I'll change a lot of things. But we'll just discuss at least five, for lack of time. Number one would be our electoral system. So imagine if instead of voting for a political party, we would vote for an individual. That in itself, on an accountability perspective, is just it takes it to another level. Secondly, would be the introduction of referendums. Just look at the UK. I mean, whether or not Brexit is a good thing is another conversation. But imagine if we would have influence, a direct legal influence on the decisions being made in government. Oh my gosh. And thirdly, it would be in terms of policy. Imagine if every president would be compelled to take at least one policy from their predecessor. You can't change a country within just 5 years or 10 years. Imagine if there was a really good policy that ran for like 20 years or 50 years long, and every now and again it would be revised, but like change here and change there, but in the long run would really do the things that need to be done in this country. This just makes me think about something like the NYDA, for instance. Theoretically, it should work. This thing should work. It should have created hundreds and thousands of prominent young business people in this country. But I don't know what it is. Is it us and a lack of initiative, lack of information about the NYDA, or is it on their side in terms of corruption or incompetency, or just a lack of good implementation? I don't know what the problem is, but imagine if someone would come and be like, oh my gosh, this is not working because of this and that and that, so change it, and then the things would just be done. Next on the list would be, imagine if we could push bills into legislation like they do in the US. A whole system would have to be created around this, of course, to actually work. But certain things like how the government would give a big corporate company a 10-year contract. This cripples new business. They're unable to compete, so they are unable to survive. And this is actually a way of creating monopolies, because you're only looking after a few. And of course, monopolies create inequality. I mean, just imagine if we could just influence legislation, and bills like the secrecy bill would not just be thrown into our face, but would actually have an actual say in what should be done and what shouldn't be law. And just thinking of the justice system, oh my gosh, just imagine. This could do a lot. Last but not least, imagine if it was illegal for the private sector to fund politicians or political parties in this country. That psychological thing, that indebtedness that we spoke about, would be demolished all of a Sunday. State captures would be so politicians would need to be creative in terms of to come up with the funds for their campaigns. The state could step in and create a bank specifically to loan politicians or political parties the money to do their campaign things. Gosh, yes, and they would charge them like really hefty interest, and this is just creating money from thin air. And invested in something really amazing and lucrative in the long run. So moving right along. The ANC has a front runner in terms of the presidential nominee, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. This is an interesting person. She served in, first of all, she's the actually qualified doctor. And she served in all the democratic administrations. She was Minister of Health, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Home Affairs, and then she went to the AU. Very impressive CV, by the way. It just made me think about this question that people have been asking me for quite a while. Is South Africa ready for a female president? In a patriarchal society, that's a perfectly normal question to ask. But if we were normal at all, just a little bit, this is kind of a dumb question to ask. I mean, what do you mean? Are you saying that women were intellectually impaired until now to run this country? I don't know. Why? Anyways, I don't trust any candidate coming out of the ANC camp. But at the end of the day, I feel like I would always be forced. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I would always be forced to choose the lesser of three evils. So, the corrupt and incompetent ANC, the racially challenged DA, and the very strange EFF. So at the end of the day, you just choose the lesser of three evils. Like, which one will it be? Yeah. On international news, however, Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, offered the former FBI director James Comey political asylum. He's saying that his situation is similar, or rather no different, to that of Edward Snowden. Remember Edward Snowden, the guy with the glasses, kind of geeky, former CIA employee who shocked us all? Not really. By letting us know that actually the USA is spying on everybody. Yes, that guy. So, this is kind of dodge, because Vladimir actually, if James Comey is in trouble in any way politically, it is kind of sort of because of you. This man has explicitly said that he has no doubt that Russia interfered in the political elections in the US. So if there's any advice, James Comey, that I could give you, is run in the opposite direction of Russia, because what he's offering you is very dodge, actually. Incredibly dodge. Anyways, I love you guys a lot. Be good, be happy. Use your talents to serve humanity. See you next week.